Timeless Christianity 24 hours a day.
Welcome to Live with the Lows with your hosts, Father Nicholas and Dr. Roxanne Lowe, where we will connect our Orthodox faith to day-to-day living and relationships to our family, our work, and Greek Orthodox Church in Jacksonville. And Dr. Roxanne is a licensed clinical psychologist who
being with us. We really appreciate it. Our show airs every single Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. and that last name is spelled Louhs. We also, if you're interested, have all of our sermons archived on our Lowe's YouTube channel. So if you are on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And again, that is the Lowe's, and you'll have access to all of our sermons that we give. And if you don't receive our daily inspirational messages, I do encourage you to do so. You can do so right now as you're hearing my voice. Go to our website at thelowes.com and click on subscribe. And all you have to do is simply put in your email address, and every single day at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, you'll receive our daily inspirational message. And I will just tell you this, that Roxanne and I feel it on our heart that there is just such a need for people to receive just these daily bits of just guidance in their walk of faith. And so many people, we have thousands and thousands of people who receive this message every single day. So if you're not receiving them, please definitely, if you feel like you're in a need for some inspiration in your walk of faith, especially. And as always, we love having you join the conversation, especially on tonight's topic. You can call us at 1-855-237-2346. That's 1-855-237-2346. You can also email me during the live broadcast of our show by emailing me at ask@ancientfaith.com. That's ask@ancientfaith.com. As well as if you're on our Facebook page at the Lowe's, you can also leave a comment in the comment line. We'd love to get to all of those comments as well as questions during the live broadcast of our show. So friends, tonight we're going to have a very difficult conversation. It's days of their life. How do we give them comfort? How do we counsel them? And how do we help those who are actually dealing with the loved ones as they're going through this difficult stage in their life? Well, I have a very good friend of mine on our show tonight as our guest. Her name is Dr. Sarah Byrne-Martelli. She's no stranger to Live with the Lows. We had her on several weeks ago. She wrote an extraordinary book called Memory Eternal, Living with Grief as Orthodox Christians. I highly recommend this book. In fact, our church is using this in establishing our own ministry, a bereavement ministry within our church that we're calling Zoe Ministry, which is life ministry, and using her book, Memory Eternal, as the basis, as the book study for it. So again, I encourage you. But let me tell you, if you're just the first time, let me tell you a little bit about her. So Dr. Sarah Byrne-Martelli is an Orthodox lay chaplain and bereavement counselor who has served in acute care and hospice since 2002. She is the inpatient chaplain for the Massachusetts General Hospital Division of Palliative Care. She is endorsed by the Antiochian Archdiocese. She attends St. Mary's Orthodox Church in Cambridge, Massachusetts, one of my favorite parishes, by the way, with Father Anthony Hughes, with her husband, Dr. Peter Martelli, and their son, Raphael. Sarah holds a doctorate of ministry from St. Vladimir's Orthodox Theological Seminary and a Master of Divinity from Harvard Divinity School. Dr. Sarah, as always, welcome to Live with the Lows.
Thank you so much for that very kind introduction. It's very nice to be back talking with you.
Well, you are such an extraordinary person, and this book, Memory Eternal, just really touched my heart, and I'm sure it's going to touch every reader who takes the time to read this book. But let's get to our topic tonight. And probably one of the biggest debates that we hear about is, what is physician aid in dying? The difference between that and what we oftentimes call euthanasia. Tell us the difference, please.
Yes, sure. And so it's important to make sure we define our terms as we talk about these subjects, which of course are fraught, they're complicated, they're often political, and they're a source of concern, for everyone in our country and around the world. And I also, and we'll talk about this more, it's important to think about this in terms of the bigger picture of understanding hospice, understanding palliative care, and understanding really what are facing serious illness in Asia and so there's different terms for it. It was originally often referred to as physician assisted suicide, and then when they will have an ending to their life by taking medication that is prescribed by a physician. And euthanasia, as it is, Dr. Kevorkian and all those things that it evokes, euthanasia is really when a physician or another person intentionally uses medical means to end someone's life. So as it stands now in the United States, euthanasia is not practiced, at least not, in any official way. But medical aid in dying is actually is legal increasingly in multiple states. It's actually legal in 10 states now. And I do think that there's sort of a trend towards that. It is, if I could list the states, maybe it's in California, Washington, Oregon, New Mexico, Colorado, Montana, New Jersey, Vermont, and Maine. And there's a very big website, a very sort of well-funded group called Death with Dignity, or called Compassion and Choices. And they their term that they like to call it is Death with Dignity. And so it's very interesting because it has a theme song, it has marketing information, it has lots of this beautiful website. And of course, for us as Christians, death with dignity is not, this type of death with dignity is not what we're praying for when we pray for a Christian ending to our lives in liturgy. But just so to define our terms, what we're really thinking about and facing in daily practice is what is commonly understood as medical aid in dying.
We're speaking with Dr. Singh in euthanasia, and we wanted to bring her on to kind of clear the air, to kind of share what these differences are so that we have an appropriate understanding of what these are. We'll get to obviously our approach as Orthodox Christians to these topics, but I do think it's important for us to talk about these and what we're hearing out in the world. You can join the conversation by calling us at 1-855-237-2346. That's 1-855-237-2346. And you can also email us a question during the live broadcast of our show at ask@ancientfaith.com. Sarah, I can't help but think about the many people, and I even think about my own situation when my dad was dying towards the end, and obviously your experience in palliative care and walking into hospital rooms and seeing people that everything is, they're just tremendous suffering that we're seeing, and just heartache on the family, but also heartache on the person, the loved one. And oftentimes people will just say, I just wish they would just, I wish that God would just take them away, because it becomes so uncomfortable for us to witness and to see the suffering. How do you guide people, when they see this and these emotions that are just overwhelming for them to see? How do you guide them through that?
Well, it takes a team of people, and for me as a chaplain, I'm part of a greater team with physicians, nurses, nurse practitioners, social workers in the hospital as a palliative care team. And famously, Dame Cicely Saunders, who's kind of credited as the founder of the modern hospice movement, conceived of this concept of total pain. So not only physical pain, but also social pain, of spiritual pain, of emotional or psychological pain. These are all the areas of pain that come up as a patient and their family, as that kind of unit together, face serious illness. And so what's important is to think about pain to address it from multiple places. So, one thing I want people to know is that there's this concept, in medical aid in dying, that suffering is the way we look at suffering. It really is the way we craft a prayerful, compassionate response to people who are wondering about this. And so it's important to think about all these areas of care, not only seeking appropriate pain control and medical support in that way, but, I always say to the doctors I work with, say we have a patient that has complex medical issues, is facing end of life, and they have pain. And, the physician, is titrating the medication and adding a little more and being very intentional about it, but the pain still stays the same. And so what we've always